Welcome! In this video, we're going to be making a wedding cake for our doll. We'll be needing bottle caps, toilet paper, glue, water, toothpicks, scrap paper, craft paint, beads and flowers, markers, Mod Podge, and our hot glue gun. First, we're going to select a few bottle caps and stack them to see how they fit to size. That looks good. So we're going to take our smallest bottle cap, the one that's going to be at the top of our cake, and we're going to burn 2 holes in the top using the very tip of the hot glue gun. Now it's very important to be super careful and do not press the trigger on the hot glue gun. Just let the heat at the very tip do all of the work. So we have 2 holes, and that's going to be where the little tiny bride and groom fits at the top of our cake. And we're going to very carefully glue and stack our bottle caps. So now we have our bottle caps all glued together. Now we're going to make a 5-tier cake. So next we're going to apply glue generously, and I'm spreading it out with a paintbrush. Once the glue is nice and even, then we'll carefully apply a layer of toilet paper, and then we'll trim the extra paper. Then we're going to add a second layer of toilet paper and set everything with a little water, and use a toothpick to make sure that those holes in the top are open. That's going to take a few hours to dry, so we're going to set that to the side and work on our cake toppers, the little tiny bride and groom at the top. So we're going to break a toothpick in half, and one is going to be the bride, one's going to be the groom. We're going to take some hot glue and create a little tiny ball on top of the toothpicks. That's going to be the head of our bride and groom. We're going to use paint to paint a nice flesh tone color, and we're going to cut a small piece of scrap paper and glue a paper tube around each toothpick. And to make the groom, I'm going to use a black marker and make a little tuxedo and color the hair. And for the bride, to make her dress, I'm going to make a cone shape out of a small piece of paper and very, very carefully apply a drop of hot glue and insert the toothpick. I'm going to glue our cone closed and then cut the rest of the cone down, and it makes a little tiny dress. I also add a little glue up under her dress to make sure it stays. For the veil, I folded a small sheet of paper, shaped it around the head, and then I trimmed it and attached it to the head with a tiny drop of hot glue. I'm going to paint the dress and the veil with white paint, and that's our bride. As you can see, I added a bust to our dress with a little hot glue. You can also use a black marker to do the eyes. Now our cake is dry, and I made a little extra one. I made a little extra one to show how we could decorate. I'm using the hot glue gun to create piping on the cake. I also glued a string of beads around the cake. I'm adding flowers, and then I'm going to paint. Make sure you cover all the beads and the flowers. Now here you can really see the piping effect really nicely on this cake. When the paint is dry, I'm going to seal it with a layer of Mod Podge. And lastly, using our hot glue gun, we're going to glue in our little bride and groom at the top of the cake. For this cake, we're going to create a birthday candle by coloring a toothpick, making a teardrop shape with hot glue. That's going to be the flame for our candle. We're going to color our flame with an orange marker. And just like we did the little bride and groom, we're going to apply a little hot glue to our toothpick and insert it in the little hole in our cake. And it's complete. Now here's a different variation on our wedding cake. Instead of applying the flowers and then painting, I painted first and then applied the flowers. That looks really pretty. And on this cake, I used a marker to draw our piping on the cake. And we're done. This was super fun. I enjoyed this one a lot. I want to thank you for watching. I encourage you to leave comments. Go to my Facebook page at Red Carpet Dials by Tony Nicole. And you can post pictures and let me know how your crafting project turns out. Thanks again. Stay tuned for the next video.